Great Sandwich Incident. In the peaceful town of Crumblyville, nothing much ever happened. People liked it that way. The biggest excitement of the year was the annual pie parade, where everyone competed to bake the prettiest pie. But Harold, a man with an unmatched love for sandwiches, had bigger dreams. Harold didn't just like sandwiches. He lived for them. His home was practically a shrine to bread, cheese, and condiments. His shelves were lined with books like The Art of Sandwich Construction and 1001 Ways to Use Mustard. Even his cat, Mr. Pickles, was named after Harold's favorite topping. One morning, Harold woke up with a spark of inspiration. "That's it," he exclaimed, startling Mr. Pickles, who tumbled off the bed. "I will create the largest sandwich the world has ever seen." Harold's voice echoed through the quiet house. The idea consumed him. At breakfast, he sketched blueprints on napkins. At lunch, he calculated ingredient proportions. By dinner, he was strategizing how to keep the sandwich from falling over. The next day, Harold set his plan in motion. He headed to the grocery store with a checklist the size of a scroll. The staff watched in awe as Harold loaded cart after cart with bread, cheese, lettuce, pickles, and enough deli meat to feed an army. "Big family reunion?" asked the cashier, ringing up his 42 loaves of bread. "No," Harold replied, puffing out his chest. "This is for the biggest sandwich in history." Back home, Harold transformed his backyard into a sandwich-making arena. He cleared space, laid out massive cutting boards, and set up trays for each ingredient. "Today," he announced to Mr. Pickles, "history will be made." The assembly begins. At 9 a.m. sharp, Harold began stacking. First came the base, thick slices of sourdough, perfectly aligned. Then a layer of cheese, each slice overlapping like shingles on a roof. Next came turkey, lettuce, pickles, and mustard. Layer by layer, the sandwich grew taller. By noon, the sandwich was nearly 6 feet high. Harold climbed a ladder to add more layers, sweat dripping from his brow. Curious neighbors peeked over the fence. "What on earth is Harold up to?" murmured Mrs. Butterfield. As the sandwich reached 8 feet, word spread across Crumblyville. Soon, a crowd gathered outside Harold's yard. People brought lawn chairs and snacks, treating it like a live performance. Children chanted, "Go, Harold, go!" The mayor arrived, shaking his head in disbelief. "Harold, this is ambitious, but do you have a permit for this sandwich?" Harold paused, mustard bottle in hand. "A permit," he scoffed. "For art? For a dream?" The mayor shrugged and joined the crowd. Disaster strikes. By 3 p.m., the sandwich towered at a staggering 10 feet. Harold climbed higher, balancing precariously on a stepladder. He held the final slice of bread in his hands, the crowd holding their breath. "Behold," Harold shouted, "the sandwich of glory." But as Harold placed the last slice, a gentle breeze swept through the yard. The sandwich wobbled. Harold froze. The crowd gasped. Then, in horrifying slow motion, the entire structure tilted and collapsed. Harold dived to save it, but it was too late. Bread, cheese, lettuce, and pickles exploded across the yard like confetti. Harold disappeared under the rubble, emerging moments later with a pickle stuck to his forehead. The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. "Are you okay, Harold?" called Mrs. Butterfield. Harold stood, brushing mustard off his shirt. "I'm fine," he said with a grin. "And I think I just invented the world's largest salad." A hero emerges. Despite the chaos, Harold's spirits were unshaken. "I'll eat my way out of this mess," he declared. The crowd cheered as Harold grabbed a slice of bread and started munching. Children joined in, grabbing handfuls of sandwich debris. Even Mr. Pickles emerged, meowing excitedly as he pawed at the fallen tuna slices. The spectacle turned into an impromptu festival. Someone set up a lemonade stand. A local band showed up and played tunes while Harold worked his way through the wreckage. People called it the Great Sandwich Incident and declared it the most exciting thing Crumblyville had ever seen. By sunset, Harold was lying on the grass, too full to move. The sandwich was mostly gone, shared by the townspeople. Harold looked up at the sky, a smile on his face. "Well," he said, "next time I'll use some toothpicks for support." The mayor approached, clapping Harold on the back. "You've put Crumblyville on the map, my friend. We'll be famous for this." Legacy of the sandwich. In the weeks that followed, Harold became a local celebrity. Tourists came to see the site of the sandwich disaster, now marked by a plaque reading, "Here stood the largest sandwich ever made." And then it fell. Harold opened a sandwich shop called the Tower of Tasty, where every sandwich came with extra pickles in honor of Mr. Pickles. He even held a yearly sandwich festival, complete with competitions, live music, and a Build-A-Tower booth for kids. As for Harold, he never gave up on his dream of a giant sandwich. But now, whenever he built one, he made sure to use plenty of toothpicks, and a helmet, just in case.